Hi, Matthew here. Today I'm going to be talking about the importance of an educated citizenry, why it's important for you to be educated, knowing all the right information, the important information, and doing your research, gathering the information you need in order to make the best decision in any kind of any voting that you'll do anytime you vote for a policy or you vote for a person, and basically you're voting for change. I would never recommend going into an election, and a lot of people I know do this because I've done it uh, earlier on, especially. But going into a time where you're voting on, different policies and laws and propositions, just not knowing what they're about. Now, of course, it would be impossible for you to know everything, probably about, if you'd have to have a lot of time to research every person and every topic that a law is going to be passed on. And, like I said, every like office person who's going to, be this judge and all the different city roles. But what I do think is you should learn as much as you can. That's not to say that if you could learn almost all of that stuff somehow, that you shouldn't do it. Because if you go back to how the ancient Greeks thought of voting, and when there was the democracy in Athens, it was all based off of, quite simply, having an educated citizenry. And that was the original principle of democracy, and also for the Romans, republic, which the United States is based on, right? So, if people go and they vote on different things with a misunderstanding of a situation and a lack of mental precision, which how couldn't you if you didn't know what the facts were? And I mean, no, I'm not perfect at any of this. It's certainly things I plan on working on as well, but just being able to figure out an issue and what side of an issue you're on. It may be that you, in principle, you would think that one idea is better than another. Like, say that something done to make your city, more free, have more liberty. But as Benjamin Franklin says, you can't give up a little liberty, or you can't give up security without losing liberty, and vice versa. Or you can't gain, security without losing liberty. So every time that we decide to, increase the security that we have about something, or the secure, the protection of for people, or just the protection in our society, like, even though I think that there are reasons why there should be very strong limits on guns, by doing that, you're eroding people's liberty. And, there may be reasons why people should have, there are times when a firearm could be useful to defend yourself. And, there's always different aspects of a situation. I don't necessarily agree with the one that I just gave in all cases, but it's certainly, until you start thinking about things, then you don't realize what the different aspects of them are. And this is why it's important to kind of, come upon new material, ingest it in, and make use of it, apply it in your life to the effect of being able to actually put it to use, voting, and um, just, knowing how to improve the world that you live in, the world that your children live in, and that your family lives in, and that you want pretty much anyone you care about to live in a more ideal, better run society, right? Now, as a moderate, it's pretty difficult for me because I, see the benefits of being slightly more conservative than most people where I live, and I also see the benefits of being more, um, liberal in some situations. In like a classic liberalism kind of way. I mean, I would consider myself closest to like the liberals of the 1700s and the 1800s, which I guess would be called a classic British liberal, who would support the economy and people's the right of competition and that sort of thing. But my point is, regardless of what I think, that it can be difficult to figure out which side you fall on a given issue, and don't think that just because the blue team and the red team, or the Dems and conservatives think a certain thing about an issue, that you have to automatically agree with that in all cases. It may be you're leaning, and you may find comfort in being a part of that, and maybe that some people naturally fall into one paradigm or the other, but I don't know that that applies to all people, and that there is actually a lot of people out there who are free thinking and don't automatically subscribe to I don't know, being an absolute leftist, or being going to the far right is an obvious thing that most of us don't want to do at all. But I mean, I'm sure that it's always possible that someone will watch this video and be from the far right too. But instead of these ideologies, it's better to actually learn and understand policy, and not just a talking point coming from the left or the right, and actually figure out where you stand with like, an example, gay rights, and I don't know, like immigration policy, because that's something that's actually pretty contentious nowadays, and some people are really against both of those things. But obviously, if you're more open-minded, you realize, well, immigration can be quite good, and rights for people who have been previously oppressed, and recognizing their identity, not so much going into completely into identity, like seeing identity politics as something to be beheld, but just recognizing the legitimacy of someone's being, of someone's feelings, of someone's understanding of themselves, and just because you grew up in some place where everyone carried a gun, and you went out and hunted animals every 4 months, that's the only way to live, or that it's even necessarily a healthy way to live. Because there are people that say, I'm for the country, and they think that by going out and hunting, they're keeping the country strong. I don't know if that comes from Great Britain or America, but I think to some extent both, and there's somehow ingrained belief on that subject. I don't know if I'm 100% against hunting, but the reality is that it's very people can't just go out there and obtain their hunting license and hunt down an entire population that's on the brink of extinction. Likewise, for an endangered species, right? Anyway, likewise, we can't just, you know, act like every other species without our awareness of it is going to have everything it needs, and moreover that we're not severely impacting the viability of their existence at all. In other words, our ignorance of a certain species could merely be, you know, they could easily, by us not paying attention to them, get to a point of no return. And like if you look at species like pandas, they are very slow to reproduce and reproduce very little, and so that's why they became a problem at one point as far as their you know, like, why aren't there a lot of pandas? Well, people didn't know this at one point. But I say this because it applies to other things as well. You know, to all of our resources, to different kinds of peoples like Native Americans that need to be protected and able to live without. The Native Americans actually live in what they call prisoner of war camp. So, you know, for some Native, if not all Native Americans, to grow up without fear and to feel like they aren't actually literally prisoners is a civilized thing. And that the United States says we're, you know, the pinnacle of civilization, and we still call people that we've already damaged prisoners effectively, according to the U.S. Defense Department, is kind of, well, it's, I'm not going to get into it, but, you know, there's room for improvement for sure. So, but there's a lot of things that we can do in order to improve the world that you live in. If you care about nature like I do, go and find out about more about different kinds of plants. And, you know, there's a lot of need to take care of the environment before we find ways to run it in the ground or, you know, destabilize it, and just generally, like, pervert it, make it difficult for, like, we're invading nature all the time in some sense, right? But the least we can do is be aware of that. Now, you know, there are a lot of issues. You know, there could be something on the opposite end of the spectrum, like, you know, truckers could eventually be replaced by autonomous trucks, which are piloted by AI, and, you know, you'll see those on the road eventually, and they won't even have a person in there, right? You'll look in there and, you know, maybe there'll be a person, but they're not even driving the thing. Or maybe you won't see a person one day. So, but back to, you know, when it comes to your city, your community, what you care about, and, you know, what other people are telling you matters all the time may not always be the most important thing. Sometimes it's going to come to a point where what you think and what you believe in matters. And I certainly encourage, I'm not saying that you shouldn't listen to other people. You should. And, you know, you should pay attention to different sides and have enough humility to understand that how it may feel to be on the other side of something. But regardless, you should, you know, be aware of what you care about and find a way to make a difference in your life the way that you want to. So I'll leave you with that. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you learned about the importance of an educated citizenry. And to recap, I think that, you know, we all should educate ourselves as much as possible about what we care about. And, you know, the other thing which I didn't mention is just having the wrong people in any office could have untold consequences. But anyway, I hope you enjoy the video. Have a wonderful day, and take care of yourself. Be well, and don't get too stressed out. Thank you.